Tonight on CTV News at 6. What's next for Kashechewan?
We're starting to make plans to get as much people out as possible.
We hear from Indigenous Services Canada and the water crisis. It's a century-old structure.
We wanted something to be able to showcase how beautiful the building truly is.
There are plans to convert this Sudbury building into supportive housing. And a bright light in a dark time.
I hope they feel some closure in their heart and try to think of good memories when they see it.
A woman west of Sudbury is turning wedding dresses into gowns for families experiencing grief.
CTV News at 6 with Tony Ryma and Rick Wyman with weather.
Good evening and thanks for being with us on this Tuesday, February 3rd. There's a heavy police presence on Crawford Street in South Porcupine due to a weapons-related incident that was reported to police earlier this afternoon. Details are limited at this time, but police believe this to be a targeted incident with no broader risk to the public. They're asking people to steer clear of the area as the investigation is ongoing. A Sault Ste. Marie woman has died after a fatal crash in Sudbury. Police were called to the Highway 17 bypass in Sudbury following a single vehicle crash Monday around 1 a.m. Two people were taken to hospital, one with life-threatening injuries. The 74-year-old woman succumbed to her injuries in hospital. The other person has serious injuries. With healthcare workers now evacuated from Kashechewan, Indigenous Services Canada says it's working with community leadership to make arrangements for members who do not wish to leave. CTV's Lydia Chubak has the latest.
In cases of a full evacuation of a community, officials with Indigenous Services Canada says it's policy that the nurses are usually on the last plane out of the community, and they say nurses left a couple of days ago.
So the chief met with community members well in advance of the nurses preparing to leave and ensures that everyone is aware of the situation and they make decisions for themselves if they choose to stay in community.
Despite the current water crisis in Kashechewan, not every community member has chosen to leave.
We've worked with WAHA, the Winnebago Area Health Authority, Orange, which is emergency land-based emergency response, and community and Ministry of Health to ensure that services are in place for community members who choose to remain in Kashechewan.
We're starting to make plans to get as much people out as possible. A lot of people that are currently in the community are deciding to stay. However, we're trying to develop some plans to allow them to be there, such as our community across the river, Fort Albany. So we're trying to see how they can access healthcare.
Westaway says it remains the chief's decision when community members can return, and she says it's difficult to suggest a timeline as engineers are still completing their assessment of the water system. Lydia Chubak, CTV News, Timmins.
It's back to the bargaining table for striking professors at Laurentian University in Sudbury. LU issued a statement this afternoon saying the school and the union representing striking staff met with the Ontario Labour Relations Board yesterday and have agreed to go back to the bargaining table. Negotiations resume today and will continue tomorrow with a mediator. While Laurentian is back at the table, CUPE says talks between Local 5569 representing education workers and the Sudbury Catholic District School Board have broken down. The union released a statement today saying it condemns the board for walking away from the table and refusing to review proposal or provide counter offers. Local President Corey Allaire said in the statement, this decision is disappointing and unnecessary. Our bargaining team came prepared, willing, and committed to reaching a fair first collective agreement, adding they were close to completing a deal. The school board, however, says it did not walk away from bargaining. In a written statement to CTV News, the board says it was confronted by the union with an ultimatum to either accept the remaining proposal or it would take the matter to the media. The board saying it will not bargain under pressure or fear of public threats, nor can we compromise the best interest of students, staff, or the broader SCDSB community. CUPE 5569 represents early educators, educational assistants, office staff, and other support professionals. Both sides say they are open to reaching a fair deal for the staff and are willing to return to the table. More than 300 people have gathered in Sudbury this week for the Indigenous Land Symposium. We get more from CTV's Angela Gemmell.
These tents are a new addition to an annual event focused on land. Organizers say they bring outdoors and tradition to the annual event, meant to advance Indigenous-led land stewardship, governance, and relationships.
I hope they go home inspired. I hope they go home as a catalyst within their communities and say, you know what I learned, and you know who I met, and you know who we should go see, and it's just building that network of awareness.
This is the fourth year for the Indigenous Land Symposium, organized by Kashechewan Development, a First Nation-led social enterprise. This event, being held at Science North this year, brings together leaders, land stewards, and partners from across Ontario and Canada.
What people will walk away from ultimately is a greater knowledge sharing, so there's more individuals coming to share more knowledge.
Programming includes priority topics like jurisdiction, critical minerals, food sovereignty, and conservation.
We bring in a lot of diverse voices into these panel discussions, which allows people to think about where they see themselves, where they fit in, what are their experiences, and hopefully some new and innovative ideas.
Along with guest speakers, there are also vendors and the outdoor canvas community. The tent area is new for the symposium and includes a sacred fire, areas for workshops, and social spaces.
Science North is a very large venue, but we didn't have unique spaces that were more traditional in nature. And so we wanted to have additional spaces that both captured the traditional, but also were an extension outside of, say, a regular type of meeting room.
Organizers say 330 participants from 44 different Indigenous nations are taking in the 5-day symposium at Science North. The event continues until Friday. Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Sudbury.
A 9-story building in downtown Sudbury could be the next piece in the community's homelessness strategy. CTV's Amanda Hicks reports.
30 St. Anne Road is a building with history. Once a nunnery and a diocese, the century-old structure was bought by investors in 2024.
We wanted something to be able to showcase how beautiful the building truly is. So we went to seniors types housing, maybe like Veterans Affairs. And then in May of 2024, the roadmap to end homelessness is when the city released it. And we were reading it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, our project checks this box and this box.
The 9-floor building currently has 3 tenants, including the nurse practitioner's unit and closet share. The group is hoping the rest of the space can be converted into a 135-unit supportive housing facility. Minor renovations would be needed, including a shower on each floor. They would partner with Sudbury Supportive Housing to manage applicants, with rent supplements offered to 80% of the building.
The owners are going to work with others, not-for-profits, to provide programming and support services. Members who are going to be, coming in to live here are going to be asked to be sober for a period of time before being taken in. And then from there on, they're going to have the support needed to be able to stay there. The goal will be to transition them to either semi-independent or fully independent living within 12 to 18 months.
Councillors Mike Perron and Pauline Fortin will present a report next week recommending $1.5 million in incentives through the Community Improvement Plan. Because that fund is already established, Fortin says there is no direct hit to local property taxes.
We had the CIP program, which has been around for a very long time, and it's to fund fixing old buildings, facades, turning it into something that we can use.
Council is set to vote on this proposal next Tuesday. Branham says the project would take a phased approach, but she says she is hopeful that the first floor will be open to residents by early spring. Amanda Hicks, CTV News, Sudbury.
A little cooler on this Tuesday, and of course snow. For the latest on the conditions, here's CTV's Rick Wyman in the Weather Center. Rick.
Tony, Amanda looked like she was kind of cold out there with the snow, the wind and what have you, but we're going to get a little bit of on-again, off-again type weather over the course of the next, week or so. Have a look at our systems map right now from Environment Canada. You can see the system in the lower right-hand corner that is settling in over northeastern Ontario right now, but we will get some colder temperatures by the end of the week. And of course, we also will get some snow. We've got a system moving in by Thursday, a low pressure system. We'll keep an eye on some of the numbers and details on that. Tony, the current temperatures are coming up.
Thanks, Rick. It was a happy accident that made an Ottawa couple a little richer. Donna and Derek Roy are January's winners of the HSN Foundation's 50-50 draw, but Derek says he purchased the HSN ticket by mistake, thinking he was supporting a different hospital. The couple took home more than $380,000, which they say is a blessing as they live on a fixed income. Parents behaving badly. Still to come on CTV News at 6. The Northern Ontario Hockey Association says it's disappointed with the actions of some parents. But first, we're off to downtown Timmins. This live webcam is from the city of Timmins. It's minus 14 degrees. We're back in just a couple of minutes.
See it happen. Send it to CTV News. Text 10400. From your screen to ours. Text 10400.
The Northern Ontario Hockey Association released a statement sharing disappointment and concern with the actions of parents after a weekend of threats and bullying at rinks. CTV's Madison Merrier has more.
In a hockey game, referees have to watch for goals, penalties, and player injuries. But the NOHA is saying some issues are happening off the ice.
We've had instances where the person is waiting in the parking lot for them or waiting outside the dressing room for them.
We've always had challenges, involving behavior in the rinks, but this is the first year that we've actually tracked it. We're working with 3 organizations across Northern Ontario on a pilot that essentially tracks the behaviors.
This weekend, the NOHA shared examples of this behavior. A parent making a throat-slashing gesture to a ref, parents yelling abusive comments to players on opposing teams, and one hockey parent who appeared on video instructing players to intentionally injure their opponents.
From our end, we just need to continue to keep educating on expectations and handle in an appropriate manner the cases that do come across and ensure that the message is sent that that type of behavior won't be accepted.
The Hockey Association is looking at lifetime bans and permanent removals, as they say this abusive behavior is hurting the game and pushing people away from supporting youth hockey.
There's been young officials that have walked away because they're saying they don't want to be emotionally or mentally abused. We've also had some adults who have said, you know what, I come out here to try and give something back to the game that I enjoy and I love, but I'm not going to come out here and get yelled at and screamed at.
Marchand is hoping that the statement will remind parents to treat others with respect and that some actions can ruin a player experience. Madison Merrier, CTV News, Sudbury.
The numbers have been crunched in North Bay for the coming year, and we're getting a better picture of what that will mean for residents and their taxes. Last night, Council approved a $179.4 million operating budget, which means a 3.95% tax increase. According to the municipality, just over 1% will be used for city operations, while the remainder will go to support services from what it calls external partners. The approved increase amounts to about $9.92 for the average homeowner.
The budget adheres to the principles of sustainability, ensuring today's decisions do not compromise future financial capacity, accountability, providing clear, accessible information on how public funds are allocated, risk management, planning for contingencies and maintaining appropriate reserve levels, and strategic alignment, supporting Council's priorities and the city's long-term plans.
The 2026 capital budget totals $82.7 million. Some key projects getting funding include the construction of a second water main, the replacement of the Premier Road pumping station, and improvements to Trout Lake Road. A North Bay City Councillor has announced he's throwing his hat into the ring. First-time City Councillor Jamie Lowry announced he plans to run for mayor in the municipal election later this year, saying he made the decision based on the budget process. Lowry adds one of the items in the budget that worries him is spending $3 million on a homeless hub when no location or operator to run it has been chosen. Lowry plans to run a campaign based on affordability and modernizing city business.
Modernization of how we conduct ourselves in a more business-like fashion. And, being business-like isn't a bad word, because when you have those policies and processes, you can deliver services that much more effectively.
Meanwhile, a city councillor in Sudbury has announced his plans to run for mayor. Bill Leduc says his campaign for the top job will focus on 4 key promises: bringing back the Auditor General position to the city, focusing on homelessness with supportive housing, using the 1.5% capital levy from the city budget exclusively on roads, and cancelling the downtown event centre. Leduc believes voters are dead set against the new arena, adding costs for the project have skyrocketed and taxpayers can't afford it.
We still have to go and borrow another $135 million. We currently have $65 million sitting there earning us interest. So at any given point, we can stop the arena and we can refocus and make it a hub for the Greater Sudbury Police, our EMS, our fire. And this gives them an opportunity to have the referendum where it's a vote for Leduc. We stop the arena.
Leduc is still facing charges from the previous election when he allegedly violated spending rules. If convicted, he would be ineligible to run for office this year and could owe up to $25,000 in fines, according to the Elections Act. He says there's been no movement in the case since the Election Finance Audit Committee has not moved the case forward through the court system. Candidates can officially submit to run starting May 1st. The deadline is August 21st at 2 p.m. Municipal elections province-wide are scheduled for late October. The airport in North Bay is going to see more traffic in the coming months. Officials with the Jack Garland Airport say routine daytime training flights will be taking place to support ongoing operations. It's meant to highlight the city's expanding role in advanced aviation and defense training. The International Tactical Training Centre, a division of International Test Pilot School Canada, will use the airport as part of its ongoing training schedule and operational development in North Bay. All right, back now for a check on your current conditions. Once again, here's Rick.
Let's have a look and see what Environment Canada has in store for us, Tony. Our forecast radar with the system moving in a couple of days. There we have it, that swath of precipitation, and this is by about supper time on Thursday, so I think we'll have some snow coming our way and some colder temperatures after that. A little bit of sunshine, some snow, a little bit of everything over the course of the next couple of days. Let's take a look at our current temperatures now. Somewhat different than last night. Moosonee -14, the same for Cochrane, -13 in Timmins, Kapuskasing -15 as well, so very close. Chapleau -14, -12 in Wawa, a few clouds, -11 in the Sioux, with a few clouds as well. Meanwhile, Parry Sound of -10, mainly cloudy skies. In North Bay, a few clouds, -8. Temiskaming Shores -9, and Kirkland Lake -10. Greater Sudbury -11, -10 in Espanola, -11 in Elliott Lake, and -10 in Gore Bay. Our 7-day forecast and picks of the day. I've got not one, but 2 coming up, Tony. That's just minutes away.
Thanks, Rick. Young lives cut short. Next on CTV News at 6, a small community in Alberta is grieving the loss of 3 young hockey players. And despite trade tensions with the U.S., Canada celebrates its new F-35 fighter jet. A message from the Prime Minister to a small community in Alberta as residents try to make sense of the tragic deaths of 3 junior hockey players. The teens were on their way to practice. CTV's Kathy Lee has more.
The population of Stavely is just over 500 people. It's one of those small southern Alberta towns where everybody knows everybody, and the deaths of these 3 young players has really hit this community hard. This is a memorial outside the Stavely Agricultural Society, the arena where the Southern Alberta Mustangs played. The jerseys of 17-year-old Caden Fine, who is from Birmingham, Alabama, and 18-year-old JJ Wright and Cameron Casorso, both from Kamloops, BC, have been laid out. Community members have been dropping by, lighting candles, dropping off flowers, and paying tribute to the 3 players.
It broke my heart to find out that these hockey players, so young, with bright futures, lost their lives so young.
These kids become part of our family. They're just
yes, they're part of the community, but they're also part of our families too.
The crash happened yesterday morning as the players were on their way to practice when they collided with a semi-truck pulling gravel. This was just outside of the town on a major highway in southern Alberta. RCMP said this morning the investigation is still ongoing, but do not believe this is criminal in nature.
That passenger vehicle would have had to come across 2 lanes of Highway 2 to get into the median, and then proceed across the other 2 lanes to get into that entrance to Stavely.
RCMP say the driver of the semi is okay. Some community members have complained about the dangers of the intersection in the past. The team did release a statement saying they are family, and right now their family is hurting. Kathy Lee, CTV News, Stavely, Alberta.
Members of the Canadian Armed Forces were in Texas yesterday to celebrate the arrival of their first F-35 fighter jet, but Ottawa has yet to announce just how many U.S.-made jets it will buy, given the ongoing trade tensions. Canada's first F-35 is in the final stages of assembly at Lockheed Martin's production line. Canada has a contract to buy 16 F-35s, but the federal government has yet to say what it will do with the rest of the order for 72 more fighter jets to replace its fleet of aging CF-18s. Here's what Canada's defense minister said this morning.
Well, first of all, let's remind Canadians we have acquired 16 F-35 fighter jets. And the head of the Air Force will be there as part of the process of rolling these planes off the production line. We have Canadian pilots that will begin their training in Arizona. This is part and parcel of what we committed to doing. The question of further acquisition of that fleet remains under review.
One of the main criticisms of the F-35 purchase is that it reinforces Canada's dependence on the United States. Meanwhile, South Korea continues to court Canada as it hopes to be the manufacturer of Canada's new submarine fleet. Details from CTV's Judy Trin.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. The South Koreans showing the federal government's point man on defense procurement what more could be made in Canada. Hanwha says the howitzer armored vehicles used by some European forces and needed by Canadian soldiers could be made by auto workers in Ontario facing job losses.
The manufacturing automated lines that we have now, we could take that here and use the technology that we have and implement that in Canada for the development of these vehicles.
Hanwha did something similar in Australia. It built a factory outside Melbourne after Ford and Toyota shuttered their plants.
Given the moment that we're in, everything's on the table. So, we're not, we're looking at all the opportunities that we can get our hands on.
Hanwha is considering linking the howitzers to its bid to build up to a dozen submarines for the Royal Canadian Navy. One of its partners is also pitching building the torpedoes that go in the KSS-3 sub in Canada. The country's top naval commander says Korean soldiers will help train Canadians, and trade will strengthen ties between old allies.
Secretary Pugh, as the Secretary Fuhr and Ministry of National Defense An has mentioned, Canadian forces deployed more than 26,000 personnel into the Korean War. And the Korean people do not forget the sacrifices that the Canadian forces had during the Korean War. Korean citizens are always thankful for this.
Hanwha is committed to becoming a bigger presence in Canada. It has just opened an office in Ottawa to position itself for future contracts. Canada plans to spend 5% of its GDP on defense by 2035. Judy Trin, CTV News, Changwon, South Korea.
And Industry Minister Melanie Joly says the Canadian government is moving to recover millions in public funding from General Motors after the company's second major downsizing in Canada in under 6 months.
I've already said that we would get our money back from Stellantis and also from GM. We're in evaluation mode right now as to how much. Of course, a lot of our support was linked to production, and therefore if there was no production, obviously there was no funding. And so that's what we are focused on, and I'll have more to say on Stellantis in the coming days. And we're also in contact with GM. At this point, when it comes to GM also, back in December, we decided to reduce their emission quotas. Basically, the amount of cars they can bring to Canada without tariffs has been reduced because obviously they've decided to shut down Ingersoll, and now they're going after the third shift in Oshawa.
Hundreds of workers at General Motors' Oshawa plant are out of work after the company cut its third shift there. That latest decision from the automaker follows similar job losses in the province at the Kami Assembly Plant in Ingersoll and the Stellantis Assembly Plant in Brampton. Ontario's Premier has called the latest layoffs very disappointing and says the province has a plan to support workers. All right, there's more news still ahead, but first, here's your full weather forecast with Rick.
Of 6 more weeks of winter. Well, Punxsutawney Phil got it right yesterday, so I guess we'll have to go the American way and say, you know what, it is Northern Ontario. It should start to ease up weather-wise by the end of March, maybe early April, but that's okay. Forecast radar, here we go. We're not talking groundhogs tonight, we're talking a little bit of snow in the forecast and some colder temperatures a little bit later on. Here's that system moving through Northeastern Ontario right now, so again, that system should hit us by about Thursday. And again, we'll take a look at what we can expect by then. Next little while, overnight, Greater Sudbury, we've got -18, Sault Ste. Marie -24, -21 in Timmins, Timiskaming Shores -16, and North Bay -18. Of course, wind chill also coming into effect. Moosonee -21, the same for Caphurst, -22 in Wawa, and Gore Bay -21, and Parry Sound -18. Now our 7-day numbers, here we go. Sudbury Nickel Belt, Wednesday, wake up to -27 with the wind chill. Chance of snow on Thursday, periods of snow on Friday as well, -6 degrees. -17 on Saturday, some sunny skies, and again, -15 on Sunday, chance of snow. Monday, chance of snow with -11 degrees. Sault Ste. Marie, Algoma, wake up weather tomorrow, -30, periods of snow, -4 on Thursday, Friday. Chance of snow, -7, -15 Saturday, Sunday, we've got -10, and Monday, -6 degrees. Timmins, Cochrane, Kapuskasing, wake up weather tomorrow, -28, chance of snow Thursday, Friday, periods of snow. Sunshine Saturday, and again, the chance of snow on Sunday. Monday, some sun and cloud with a high of -12. Timiskaming Shores, Kirkland Lake, wake up to -24 tomorrow, chance of snow, periods of snow Friday. Saturday, sunny skies. Sunday, we got the chance of snow, and Monday, sunshine, -12 degrees. One more time for North Bay and West Nipissing, waking up to -22 tomorrow morning, chance of snow Thursday, periods of snow Friday, -6, -17 Saturday, Sunday, chance of snow -16, and -11 Monday with sun and cloud. Normally your temperature should be at around -7 degrees. Let's check out our picks of the day for today. Rose took these shots the other day of the beautiful, beautiful bald eagle. We've got 2 of them, magnificent bald eagles. Rose, thank you so much for this. The shots taken on Manitoba Island, and you know I'm a big Eagles fan. I love these picks. Stick around. Tony has more news coming up after the break.
It's estimated there are 14 million dogs and cats in Canada, but only about 3% of pet owners have invested in pet insurance. Pet insurance can help you in the event of unforeseen expensive medical bills, but the premiums can rise substantially as your pet gets older. CTV's Pat Foran has details.
Is Rosie a good dog?
Oh, she's the best. She just loves people.
Elaine Sitter of Toronto has had Rosie, a Bichon poodle, since she was a puppy. Now 11 years old, Rosie continues to be a wonderful companion.
I love her. She's amazing. She's my little shadow.
Sitter says a former pet died young and had expensive veterinary bills, which is why she wanted Rosie to have pet insurance. The monthly premiums were manageable in the beginning, but in 2024 they rose to $286 a month. They jumped again the next year to $470 a month, and Sitter was told for this year the premiums would be $866 each month.
I want to live comfortably, and I want her to live comfortably as well, but I just can't justify that kind of money.
Sitter is insured with 24 Pet Watch. She called to get answers regarding the massive price hike.
Your dog is older, and I'm like, yeah, that was a point of insurance, and that I was on an old plan, and they weren't honoring that old plan any longer.
We contacted the parent company of 24 Pet Watch, Independence Pet Holdings. A spokesperson said monthly premiums have risen in recent years as veterinary costs continue to increase. As claim costs rise, insurers must adjust premiums to keep pace.
The rates for younger animals will always be less expensive than those for animals as they age.
Consumer Reports advises to shop around for pet insurance or self-insure with your own savings plan.
Meaning you have a lockbox where you put that money untouched in the event that your pet does need some sort of service.
That's a lot of money.
Sitter says over 11 years she paid $17,000 in premiums and now wishes she would have had her own savings plan instead.
I really wish that I wouldn't have bothered with insurance. I could have stuck $100 away a week and would have been fine.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Every 7 minutes, a Canadian dies from heart disease or stroke, and a new study suggests it's because we are not doing enough to stay healthy. CTV's Heather Wright on what that means and what you can do to turn things around.
What started as mild heartburn suddenly became much more serious for Elena Trainoff.
I woke up one night in the middle of the night with crushing chest pain, and even then I thought, I'm too young for this to be a heart situation.
At just 40 years old, Trainoff had 100% blockage of one artery and partial blockage of two others. She was taken in for emergency surgery. Nearly 11 years later, Trainoff credits changes to her lifestyle for keeping her healthy.
I quit smoking, I lost weight, I changed my eating habits, I radically reduced the amount of stress that I was under.
According to a new report from the Heart and Stroke Foundation, 9 in every 10 Canadians have at least one risk factor for heart disease and stroke. Lifestyle risks include smoking, poor diet, stress, lack of sleep, and lack of physical activity. And while some risk factors like genetics, gender, age, and air pollution can't be changed, experts say 80% of premature heart disease can be prevented with lifestyle changes.
We're surrounded by unhealthy food options. We aren't as physically active as we once were. Most people work in sedentary jobs. So for those reasons, it can be more difficult, and we have to make conscious effort to live healthfully.
And while some risk factors like smoking are declining, others are on the rise. For example, 1 in 4 grade 12 students say they vape, while the number of Canadian adults living with high blood pressure has increased every year since 2000.
While the death rate from heart disease and stroke has decreased by about 80% over the last 70 years, these diseases still cause 1 in every 5 deaths in Canada. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
The Northern Ontario School of Medicine has received a major donation supporting Indigenous health. Anonymous donors have provided $5 million for the school to create the Circle of Indigenous Health Research and Innovation. The Circle will provide space for Indigenous-led research, education, and advocacy. It will be run through the University Centre for Health Equity and bring together Indigenous health organizations, elders, community leaders, along with other partners. A retired healthcare worker west of Sudbury is using her time to create gowns for families who experience the loss of a baby. Here's CTV's Lindsay Alick with her story.
These ones I'm just finishing up.
Deborah Sharp spent 30 years as a nurse in palliative care.
It's such an honor to be with somebody as they leave this world. I look at it like when a child is born, the energy and the atmosphere is so warming and loving. When you are older and you leave this world, it's actually the same thing, only reversed.
Now she's spending her time taking wedding dresses and turning them into gowns.
I was over at Jen's house and she goes, I really wish I could make gowns or something with this dress. So I told her, well, give it to me and I'll see what I can do.
She was able to turn her friend's dress into 5 gowns. Soon after, she shared on social media she was looking for donations and received 20, with more on the way.
I hope they feel some closure in their heart and try to think of good memories when they see it and the happiness, even though if it was only for an hour that they held that child.
She's been in contact with nearby hospitals and hopes to make donations soon. At 70 years old, Sharp says she will continue to make gowns as long as her body will allow her to, with hopes that people will continue to donate their wedding dresses. Lindsay Alick, CTV News, Spanish.
Mysterious lights have been spotted hovering over southern Manitoba, and now a group of area residents has banded together to try and figure out exactly what's going on. CTV's Denton Unger explains.
You can always see them in the distance over here.
Monique Kirchie has noticed something strange going on in the skies of southern Manitoba.
Like they fly all over the town.
Over the past few weeks, Kirchie says she and her neighbors have seen large drones like this hovering around Kleefeld just west of Steinbach.
It's only at nighttime that they're hearing and seeing these things, and so it raised a lot of concern, the fact that there's so many and it's so many frequent sightings. Nobody knows anything.
She's reported it to the municipality and the RCMP, but so far no answers as to what's behind the sudden uptick in drone activity. Steinbach RCMP did confirm they've received one report of drones flying over the city as well as in the Lebrokery area, hovering near houses and waking people up. RCMP say at this point, no other reports have been received. Corporal Ryan Cadot says it can be difficult to track down the operators of drones.
It's tricky because a lot of these drones have considerable range, and unless you can find the pilot, there's not a whole lot we can really do about it, unfortunately.
Still, if a drone is flying on private property or getting a little too close for comfort, Cadot does encourage residents to report it to RCMP. As for Kirchie, this is a mystery she wants to solve. That's why she's created the Community Drone Watch.
Drone chasers, unite. I was kidding, but at the same time kind of serious because people had been posting about noticing all these drones flying around for the last few weeks.
While not taking herself too seriously, she does hope this will lead to some answers, like who's flying these drones around her area and why.
So far, nobody knows what these things are. They're just these big, large drones that have been flying around.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Steinbach.
He was one of the most exciting CFL players ever to put on a uniform. Still ahead on CTV News at 6, Mike Pinball Clemens was in Halifax to celebrate Black History Month.
Clothing provided by Laura, Melanie Lynn.
A community job fair is taking place in Sault Ste. Marie, running until 7 this evening. The event at GFL Memorial Gardens presents a range of opportunities, especially with up to 1,000 Algoma Steel employees being laid off next month. CTV's Corey Nordstrom was on site earlier today.
Open to anyone in the community, a job fair hosted by the city of Sault Ste. Marie did see a lot of Algoma Steel employees. While some are anticipating future cuts, many have already received slips that tell them their last day is March 23rd.
I've been there 18 and a half years. I've played different roles from janitor to hot mill to 9 cranes and 4 different mills. DSPC coil handling, I'm iron making now.
More than 15 possible employers were on hand, giving a range for these workers to choose from.
I've got a lot of different experience in varying different places. So it's, some are for me and some definitely aren't. So I've put out some resumes and I've taken some information. I can go online and I'll check it out from there.
Look around, yeah, and find a new job and start all over again. It's stressful. It's really stressful, and knowing you got to find a new job, and it's hard.
Representatives for 3 Ontario mines made the trip, knowing there are many with transferable skills leaving Algoma Steel.
We are looking for tradespeople, and it's no secret that tradespeople are a very hard profession to find right now.
Many locally based companies were pitching the idea to stay in the Sioux for the attendees' next career.
It's a perfect chance for us to get out in the community and support people who are looking for something new, a different change in opportunity on their end, so it's a great spot for us to be in for sure.
For those who missed this event, another large career fair takes place tomorrow at Sioux College from 1 to 5 p.m. Corey Nordstrom, CTV News, Sault Ste. Marie.
Sudbury has been named as one of the best cities for fishing in Canada for 2026. According to Fishing Booker, Sudbury is a key destination for anglers because of the easy access to locations and the variety of fish. Sudbury's parks, waterfront, and outdoor attractions also make it a prime location for those hoping to explore the community beyond its 300 lakes. Fishing Booker uses data from booking trends and searches on the platform to create the list. A special Black History Month celebration in Halifax today. CFL great Mike Pinball Clemens and a plane load of friends flew east to honor the legacy of one of the earliest black settlements in Canada. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth has more.
Pinball Clemens, along with roughly 150 friends and family, touched down in Halifax to celebrate Black History Month.
Black history reminds me that I am standing on the shoulders of all of those before me.
This was also an opportunity for the Pinball Foundation to make its mark in Nova Scotia. The foundation provides financial assistance for young people in need.
We actually scholarship 100 young people a year, pay for books and tuition. We mentor them along the way, and then we get them a job within 45 days of graduation.
Clemens says this trip is a journey, a meaningful connection to Black history in Nova Scotia. The Pinball Foundation announced a $250,000 donation to support the Africville Museum, located on the site of the historic Black community that existed in Halifax from the early 1800s until the 1960s.
Every little bit of financial support to the Africville Museum is significant. You know, with our scholarship program, with our new marine sailing program for African, Nova Scotian, and Indigenous youth and people who are disabled. We're just so thrilled, you know, to be able to continue those programs and make Africville really reach its potential.
For every young person that you see that has success. So we want to celebrate each one of them and at the same time celebrate a whole community.
Clemens and his foundation hope this is the start of a new tradition. He'd like to come back again, perhaps once a year, and offer support for more programs closely connected to African Nova Scotia heritage. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
Entertainment brought to you by the Cinefest Red Carpet Patron Program.
A teaser for a new animated Stranger Things is out, and a biopic about the King of Pop is heading to the big screen. David Daniel has tonight's Hollywood Report.
Y'all want to work in a steel mill like me for the rest of your days?
No, sir.
Yeah, because I sure as hell don't. Y'all willing to fight for it?
Yes, sir.
I need to hear you a little louder. Y'all willing to fight for it?
Yes, sir.
The official trailer is out for Michael. Two-time Oscar nominee Coleman Domingo plays Joe Jackson, with Jafar Jackson, Michael's nephew, in the title role. The film tracing the life and career of the iconic performer arrives in theaters April 24th.
Hey you, I see you.
Jessica Chastain wades into Me Too waters in a new film. Variety reports the Oscar winner will star in This Is Pleasure, as a woman whose closest friend, played by Chris Pine, faces accusations of misconduct. The film will be based on an acclaimed novella by Mary Gateskill.
The big snowstorm is coming next week. That's when we'll start the campaign.
Stranger Things, Tales from 85 takes place between seasons 2 and 3 of the live-action show, using an 80s animation style for an adventure featuring the Hawkins kids and a mysterious new threat. This teaser just dropped. The series debuts April 23rd on Netflix. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
One of Canada's big banks has to pay a big fine. BNN Bloomberg's Marilla Fernandez has details.
BMO is being dinged $4 billion by the Financial Consumer Agency of Canada. The agency says the bank was charging clients monthly fees that should have been waived. Over 100,000 customers were affected between 2010 and 2024. BMO's already issued more than $3 million in refunds. The watchdog says the bank received more than 500 customer complaints about the fees, but was negligent in detecting the error. BMO says it holds itself to the highest standards of conduct. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is up to 73.34. West Texas Intermediate is up over $1 to 63.21. Western Canadian Select is down over $3 to 47 flat. and the TSX gained 204 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
And here are the current prices for some key commodities we watch. Gold up $217.40, closing the day at $49.46.16 US an ounce. Silver up $3.73 to end the day at $85.17. Copper up 3 cents and nickel up 17 cents, ending the day at $7.84 US a pound. And Rick is back now for one last look at your Wednesday weather.
Tony, after a day of flurries off and on throughout northeastern Ontario, this is what you can expect for tomorrow. Greater Sudbury, wind chill waking up to -27, -28 in Timmins, -27 in Sault Ste. Marie. Take a look at the temperatures, certainly tolerable, but some flurry activity over the course of the course of the day tomorrow. Wind chill -22 in North Bay, Parry Sound -26 and -24 in Temiskaming Shores. So all in all, not a bad day tomorrow in northeastern Ontario. Tony, back to you.
Thanks for that, Rick. And finally tonight, what would you pay for your very own Dalek? You can find out as memorabilia from the iconic sci-fi series Doctor Who is up for auction. The series has been on the air since 1963 with many famous British actors playing the role over the decades. Prop weapons, costumes, and what many would consider the most iconic prop, the sonic screwdriver, are all on the bidding block. It's the first time the BBC has ever released the Doctor's handy little tool, and 3 of them will be auctioned off between now and February 19th. Everything has a starting bid of £100, with part of the proceeds going to charity. And folks, thanks for watching CTV News at 6. I'm Tony Ryma. More news comes your way at 11:30 with Ian Campbell. Good night.